Humanity's story during the Ice Age is one of resilience, struggle, and creativity. Vast glaciers dominated landscapes, and freezing temperatures tested survival. Yet, against impossible odds, humans endured, adapted, and thrived. Surviving the Ice Age required more than physical strength. It demanded innovation, cooperation, and determination. Each decision, from crafting tools to preserving food, carried the weight of survival for entire communities. Ice sheets covered much of Europe, Asia, and North America. Hunting grounds shifted with the seasons, forcing humans to migrate constantly, tracking herds of mammoths, reindeer, and bison across frozen landscapes. Fire was humanity's constant ally. It provided warmth, scared off predators, and transformed raw meat into nourishing meals. Without fire, survival in the Ice Age would have been impossible. Clothing became essential armor against the cold. Our ancestors stitched hides and furs into protective garments. Layered clothing trapped body heat, keeping families alive during unforgiving winters lasting months on end. Shelters reflected human ingenuity. Caves, huts built from mammoth bones, and wooden frames covered in hides provided insulation against freezing winds. Communities huddled together, finding comfort and safety in shared warmth. Food scarcity defined existence. Hunters risked everything against enormous prey, while gatherers collected roots and berries hidden beneath snow. Each meal represented victory against starvation, keeping families alive another precious day. Migration ensured survival. Humans followed the rhythms of herds and seasons, abandoning frozen lands for more fertile grounds. Constant movement turned humanity into explorers, driven by necessity and survival. Community was humanity's greatest shield. Tribes pooled resources, hunted cooperatively, and defended against predators. Shared effort transformed weakness into strength, enabling fragile humans to endure where solitude meant certain death. Spirituality emerged as survival's companion. Cave paintings, rituals, and stories carried hope. They united people, provided meaning in suffering, and reminded humans that endurance itself was a sacred achievement. Adaptability became humanity's defining trait. By learning, innovating, and teaching, survival knowledge was passed through generations. Humans did not simply endure the Ice Age, they built the foundation of civilization. The Ice Age was more than a struggle against cold. It was a test of willpower. Humans discovered that together, with courage and innovation, they could overcome even nature's deadliest challenges. Predators like saber-toothed cats and dire wolves prowled the frozen plains. Fire, weapons, and group defense allowed humans to fight back, proving intelligence could outmatch even nature's fiercest hunters. Cooperation in hunting brought rewards. Groups coordinated to track, trap, and ambush enormous prey. Success required patience, communication, and trust, qualities that strengthened human bonds as much as they ensured survival. Knowledge sharing became critical. Elders taught younger generations how to sew furs, craft tools, and read landscapes. These lessons carried forward humanity's survival, ensuring skills were never lost to time. Resilience turned into legacy. Ice Age survival demonstrated that humans were not defined by environment, but by adaptability. This truth propelled future generations toward farming, villages, and the birth of civilizations. The coldest nights were endured by huddling together, bodies pressed close for warmth. Such small acts of cooperation showed that compassion was as vital to survival as tools or fire. Each survival challenge became an opportunity for innovation. From sharpening stone tools to inventing clothing fasteners, necessity drove creativity, proving that hardship often sparks the brightest moments of human ingenuity. Hope was never absent. Even during brutal winters, humans looked to the stars, painted animals on cave walls, and told stories. Hope nourished spirits when food could not. Thus, the Ice Age became more than a chapter of survival. It became a crucible where humanity's identity was forged, adaptive, resilient, communal, and unbreakably determined to live. When the Ice Age began, landscapes transformed. Glaciers carved valleys, rivers froze, and temperatures plummeted. For humans, survival meant quickly adapting to a world that seemed designed to destroy them. The first weapon against the cold was fire. Gathering dry wood, striking stones for sparks, and preserving embers became daily rituals. Fire's glow meant survival in endless, frozen darkness. Clothing evolved rapidly. Animal hides, stitched with bone needles, became insulation. Layering furs created warmth, mimicking nature's best survival strategies. Humans turned prey into protection, transforming vulnerability into armor against cold. Shelters reflected ingenuity. Some families sought caves, while others built huts from mammoth bones, reinforced with hides. These shelters turned deadly landscapes into habitable environments, shielding communities from brutal winds. Hunting required risk. Mammoths and bison provided meat, fat, and hides essential for survival. But such hunts were perilous, demanding coordinated group effort and courage against enormous, dangerous animals. Foragers contributed equally. Digging beneath snow for roots or finding frozen berries offered essential supplements. These small additions balanced diets, preventing malnutrition when meat alone could not sustain entire tribes. Food preservation was another critical innovation. Smoking, drying, or freezing meat extended its usefulness. This ensured families could survive stretches when hunting failed, turning abundance into long-term security. Predators threatened daily life. Saber-toothed cats, cave lions, and dire wolves stalked humans. Spears, fire, and group defense turned fragile humans into organized defenders, standing together against overwhelming natural threats. Migration became necessary. Following herds across icy plains, humans remained mobile, never staying too long in one place. This nomadic resilience allowed adaptation to shifting climates and disappearing resources. Communal living strengthened survival chances. Families pooled food, shared fire, and built shelters together. Survival wasn't individual, it was collective, showing humanity's greatest adaptation was not physical, but social. Cooperation extended into hunting strategies. Groups coordinated ambushes, driving animals into traps or toward cliffs. Shared effort amplified results, ensuring more food than individuals could ever secure alone. Fire's symbolic role grew. Beyond survival, it became a center of community. Families gathered around flames, sharing warmth, stories, and identity, uniting humanity against cold and despair. Children learned early. Skills like sewing hides, tending fires, or tracking animals were passed down from elders. Knowledge became the most valuable inheritance, equipping new generations with survival tools. Seasonal planning guided life. Humans stored food and hides during summer, preparing for winter scarcity. This foresight demonstrated not just survival instinct, but emerging intelligence and long-term thinking. Ingenuity expanded tool-making. Stone spearheads were sharpened, bone needles perfected, and wooden frames crafted into sleds. Tools transformed humans from prey into resilient survivors capable of shaping their environment. Natural instincts were sharpened. Reading animal tracks, predicting weather, and recognizing edible plants became life-saving skills. Keen observation transformed landscapes from hostile wilderness into a resource map for survival. Strength came through numbers. Families joined into larger tribes, forming networks of cooperation. These alliances increased protection, pooled resources, and made survival less fragile for every individual within. Art reflected survival. Cave paintings depicted hunts and animals, possibly serving as teaching tools. These images recorded knowledge visually, ensuring lessons endured even beyond the storyteller's voice. Spiritual beliefs deepened. Rituals honoring animals or thanking nature reflected gratitude and respect. Such beliefs strengthened community bonds, giving meaning to survival struggles in an unforgiving Ice Age world. Courage defined daily existence. Whether hunting mammoths or venturing into storms, humans embraced risks. This courage, sustained by cooperation and innovation, turned fragility into strength during humanity's harshest trial. Stone tools became humanity's first true allies. Sharpened flint blades cut hides, butchered meat, and shaped wood. Each improvement extended survival, turning raw resources into weapons, clothing, and protection. Spears were vital innovations. Stone-tipped and carefully balanced, they allowed hunters to strike prey from a safer distance. This increased success while reducing risk during dangerous hunts against massive animals. Bone and antler tools added versatility. They crafted sewing needles, fishing hooks, and harpoons. With them, humans turned every animal part into utility, ensuring nothing from prey went wasted. Food gathering was never passive. Foragers tracked edible plants beneath snow, dug for roots, and risked dangerous searches for honey. Each find supplemented nutrition, balancing the meat-heavy Ice Age diet. Fishing expanded diets. Spears, nets, and hooks allowed access to rivers teeming with fish. Frozen lakes held abundance beneath ice, providing consistent food when land prey proved scarce. Preservation became survival's safeguard. Smoking meat over fire, drying strips in cold winds, or storing food in frozen ground extended its usefulness, transforming temporary abundance into long-term security against famine. Salt, when available, became priceless. It preserved food longer and added flavor. Humans quickly recognized salt's power, trading it and valuing it as much as tools or animal hides. Migration rhythms shaped Ice Age life. Tribes moved with herds, following mammoths, bison, and reindeer across vast distances. These migrations ensured food supply, but demanded constant endurance and planning. Seasonal migration offered balance. Warmer months provided foraging abundance, while winters forced movement toward caves, forests, or sheltered valleys where survival was more manageable during brutal cold seasons. Mobility required ingenuity. Sleds built from wood and bone transported supplies across ice. Domesticated dogs later assisted, pulling loads, hunting, and guarding camps, becoming indispensable companions in human survival. Rivers and coastlines became lifelines. Water sources offered fish, fertile grounds, and pathways for movement. Settling near rivers increased survival odds, while migration often followed these natural routes. Navigation relied on natural cues. The sun, stars, and landscapes guided tribes. Generational knowledge passed orally ensured that people remembered safe paths and avoided treacherous zones claimed by glaciers. Risk came with migration. Crossing icy rivers, facing storms, and encountering rival groups added danger. Yet without movement, starvation loomed. Migration was both peril and salvation in equal measure. Diet diversity became critical. Hunting mammoths and reindeer brought protein, but nuts, berries, and grains, when found, offered fiber and energy. These balanced diets kept communities healthier and more resilient against illness. Fat was especially treasured. From mammoth marrow to fish oil, fat stored energy and provided insulation. It was consumed eagerly, burned as lamp fuel, and used medicinally. Scarcity sharpened resourcefulness. When hunts failed, humans relied on stored food, small game, or scavenging abandoned predator kills. Every scrap counted, making waste a luxury no one could afford. Clothing also reflected survival strategies. Needles stitched layers of furs, while sinew provided strong thread. Tailoring ensured insulation, and each garment represented human ingenuity, turning animal remains into life-saving armor. Communities organized around food. Sharing meat from large kills built loyalty and cooperation. Even distribution prevented resentment, while rituals around meals reinforced unity and gratitude within fragile tribes. Food drove social structures. Skilled hunters gained respect, while skilled gatherers earned equal value. Every role mattered, weaving survival into collective effort, where no individual could thrive alone. Trade networks emerged early. Groups exchanged hides, meat, salt, and tools. Trade strengthened alliances, ensured access to resources, and allowed cultural exchange, laying foundations for cooperation beyond immediate tribes. Movement exposed humans to new landscapes. Mountain ranges, forests, and coastlines each presented challenges and opportunities. Adaptability to varied ecosystems proved essential, showing humans could thrive wherever survival required. Migration also spread knowledge. Meeting other groups introduced new tools, fire-making techniques, or hunting strategies. Each encounter expanded survival wisdom, enriching humanity's collective toolbox of ideas and practices. Food shortages forced innovation. Humans experimented with plant grinding, early cooking techniques, and storage solutions. Scarcity often drove invention, proving necessity was the spark behind humanity's greatest advances. Shelter was humanity's shield against brutal Ice Age winds. Caves offered natural refuge, while tents of mammoth bones and hides extended survival beyond rocky shelters into unforgiving open landscapes. Communities used available materials ingeniously. Wood, stone, and animal remains became walls and roofs. Fire pits within shelters provided warmth, light, and security against predators lurking in the freezing dark. Layered furs lined sleeping areas. Beds raised from the cold ground reduced heat loss, ensuring families rested warmer. Every detail in shelter design represented hard-won knowledge passed across generations. Shelters also became cultural centers. Within them, humans gathered for warmth, storytelling, and teaching. These spaces transformed from mere survival hubs into cradles of social life and shared identity. Caves revealed humanity's creativity. Painted walls showed animals, hunts, and mysterious symbols. These were not simple decorations. They expressed beliefs, preserved knowledge, and built spiritual connections with the harsh environment. Community was survival's foundation. Alone, survival was nearly impossible. Together, humans hunted, built shelters, prepared food, and raised children, proving cooperation was humanity's most powerful weapon against the Ice Age. Elders shared wisdom. Their experience taught when to migrate, what plants were safe, and how to interpret stars. Age transformed weakness into strength, anchoring tribes with memory and guidance. Children represented continuity. They learned through play, imitating hunters, foragers, and builders. Each lesson passed traditions, ensuring humanity's survival knowledge never faded, carrying forward the resilience of countless generations. Cooperation extended beyond family. Tribes allied, sometimes merging to share resources. Trust and bonds reduced vulnerability, creating networks of survival where human connection became as vital as fire or food. Conflict was inevitable. Scarcity sparked competition, yet negotiation, trade, and intermarriage often prevented bloodshed, showing humans were not only fighters, but builders of peace in desperate conditions. Belief systems offered meaning. Spirits, ancestors, and natural forces were revered. Rituals honored animals, thanked Earth, and asked protection. Belief transformed survival struggles into sacred journeys, connecting humanity to something greater. Burials showed respect for life. Graves filled with tools, ornaments, or food suggested hope in existence beyond death. Even amid hardship, humans found time to honor dignity and memory. Community rituals bound tribes. Drumming, chanting, or shared meals strengthened unity. These traditions reassured groups that survival was not endured alone, but with collective spirit, courage, and hope. Art, music, and storytelling gave humanity resilience. They preserved knowledge, built joy amid darkness, and reminded people survival was not only physical, but also emotional, spiritual, and cultural. Faith in unseen forces gave strength. Humans trusted seasons would return, prey would appear, and spirits would guide. This trust fueled persistence against odds that seemed insurmountable. Ice Age communities survived through collaboration, innovation, and belief. Each fire lit in darkness was more than survival. It was a declaration of human endurance, hope, and determination. The Ice Age eventually ended, glaciers retreated, and landscapes transformed. But humanity's lessons from this era remained, shaping cultures, technologies, and values that carried forward into future civilizations. These ancestors proved resilience was humanity's greatest inheritance. Against unimaginable cold, scarcity, and danger, they not only endured but thrived, laying the foundation for everything that followed in human history. The shelters they built, the tools they crafted, and the stories they told echo through time, reminding us survival was as much spirit as strength. Their legacy lives in us. Every innovation we hold, every challenge we overcome, reflects the same ingenuity and willpower that carried our ancestors through the unforgiving Ice Age. The Ice Age was humanity's crucible. Through fire, frost, and struggle, we became adaptable beings. That adaptability remains the essence of what it means to be human. Modern life feels distant from icy plains and mammoth hunts, yet the core lessons endure. Cooperation, resilience, belief, and innovation remain the roots of survival and progress. When facing challenges today, We draw unknowingly from their legacy. Their spirit whispers, endure, adapt, and overcome. Humanity is strongest not alone, but together, facing hardships as one. The Ice Age tested humanity's limits, but those limits stretched. Innovation flourished, belief deepened, and survival became triumph. From icy struggle emerged the foundation of civilization's future brilliance. Their footprints on frozen ground mark beginnings, not endings. Each generation built upon their strength, proving the human story is one of relentless endurance, courage, and transformation. Though glaciers melted, lessons remained carved in memory. Humanity is not defined by ease, but by persistence in adversity. Ice Age survival shows hardship refines, not destroys, the human spirit. The Ice Age survivors remind us, we carry their resilience. Our comforts today are built upon their endurance yesterday. Their legacy endures in every human breath, choice, and dream. Thus ends the story of how humans survived the Ice Age, not merely enduring, but transforming challenges into stepping stones toward the vast and extraordinary journey of human civilization.